Hey everyone, it's Flakfire. World War I was a time for technological innovation. Weapons like the machine gun and artillery cemented themselves as tools of war. Others, not so much. Here are 5 bizarre weapons that may make it into Battlefield 1. Number 5. Lances. Despite being painfully obsolete at the start of the First World War, mounted cavalry with lances, called lancers, were still employed on the battlefield early on in the conflict, with Germany relying on the antiquated weapon the most. As the war progressed and mobility crawled to a halt on the Western Front, lances fell by the wayside. Many cavalry units fought as mounted infantry, using horses to maneuver and then dismounting for combat. With the confirmation of rideable horses in Battlefield 1, will the lance make a return? Personally, I look forward to Lancers-only servers. Number 4. Mobile Personnel Shields. Now these may seem completely impractical, but they were actually used to decent effect. Soldiers could push these shields across uneven terrain, providing some cover from snipers and shrapnel. It came at a significant cost of movement, however. The shields were heavy and often bogged down in mud. These mobile personnel shields were eventually abandoned, of course, when larger caliber rifles were introduced to counter them and tanks became more widely available. Number 3. Flechettes. Imagine an arrow dropped from an airplane. Now imagine about 500 of them at once hurtling towards you. That was the flechette. Made out of steel and about 4 inches long, these weapons were dropped over trenches en masse. Silent, capable of creating incapacitating wounds, and even able to penetrate steel helmets, flechettes were a specter on the battlefield. They weren't particularly accurate, and many pilots eventually refused to drop them because they simply found them unsporting. Number 2. The Tsar Tank. In 1914, the Tricycle seemed an effective design, so Russian engineers decided to create a massive armor vehicle based on it. The 2 powered front wheels were nearly 30 feet in diameter, and they limited the traverse of the guns mounted in the turret. Due to some power miscalculations, the Tsar Tank was underpowered and prone to getting stuck. It never actually saw combat and was abandoned at its test site until it was scrapped post-war in 1923. And number 1. The Leach Trench Catapult. Early in the World War I trenches, weapons like mortars were in short supply. With the distance between 100 to 300 yards between friendly and enemy trenches on the Western Front, the British were in dire need of a short-range weapon. Ugly but effective, the Leach Trench Catapult fit the bill. A cross between a crossbow and a slingshot, the Leech could pitch a grenade some 200 yards. Cheap and made by a department store in London, the weapon was also relatively silent. It was quickly replaced by more modern mortars like the Stokes as soon as possible. So, will any of these weapons make it into Battlefield 1? I'd say some are more likely than others. We'll likely know more after EA Play 2016, mark your calendars, June 12th through the 14th, and then E3 2016 from June 14th to the 16th. If you're aware of any weird World War I weapons I may have missed, tell me in the comments. I'd like to hear about them. In the meantime, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Also, don't forget about the Sergeant Stubby for Battlefield 1 campaign. If you're unfamiliar with that, check out the video that follows. Thanks for watching.